Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at buying life insurance directly from a life insurer versus using an insurance broker to buy life insurance. So those are the two most common ways to purchase life insurance. And what we've done is we've put together this comprehensive guide, which I've linked to down in the video description below. And what I'm going to do is just walk through the pros and cons of both options, some must-know facts, some frequently asked questions, and just some general information. So first of all, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. People do this, it really helps us because we like to make sure our guides are resources are as comprehensive as possible. So there's many life insurance providers out there. We have a list and we have a comprehensive guide where we compare life insurance. And you can see right here some names which you'll probably know, the likes of Westpac. That's obviously a bank which does also sell life insurance. But then there's AA Life, there's AIA, that used to be Sovereign. There's Pinnacle Life, there's Southern Cross, of course, Partners Life, Chubb Life was formerly known as Cigna. And there's lots of choices out there. So many people decide to go directly, and some people decide to go through a broker. So let's just go through the pros and cons of each. So first up here, I just wanted to sort of explain that if you do go through a life insurance broker, there will be some pros. The pro is, which I'll list out here, is that they work for you. And so they're not working for the insurance company themselves. And that means they can look at all the policies available, all the insurers that they work with, and not just, one, which you'd otherwise get from if you go directly. For example, if you went directly to Astron, they wouldn't be able to provide you quotes from other insurance companies other than Astron. And these insurance brokers are supposed to be independent. Most of them are. There's a lot of disclosures around this as well. And, they do work with multiple companies to try and get the best quotes. They're also very experienced in the industry most of the time. So they'll know if you have a specific need, specific kind of background or anything like that, then, who's the best insurer for that. They will understand the difference between different insurers. And it's extremely, this is extremely valuable if you have like health issues or pre-existing conditions, because different insurers really do focus on different things when it comes down to the nitty-gritty specialized cases. And for example, if you have diabetes, then you'll find that one insurer may be better than another one, or is just known for that. It really depends what you have. But that's why, talking to a life insurance broker really does help you. They can also help you avoid being declined for coverage. So the big problem here is that people with pre-existing conditions are often too risky, or just, overall very sort of uninsurable to some insurers. So they'll give a high premium quote. But the reality is, if you work with a broker, they know what they're doing and they've got experience in a whole bunch of sort of niches. What really is valuable from an insurance broker is that they help educate you on the different insurance terms and the policies. Basically, we put that last, but it really is so important, or second last. It's really, really important because they actually help you and they actually want to explain that. Of course, they want to make a sale. They want you as a long-term customer. They hope that you don't need to claim, of course, because they want to, they want you to be alive. And at the same time, it's more profitable for you to stay alive. But, they really are really invaluable at this point to just explain everything to you, whereas you wouldn't get that so much from a company. You don't get those long chats. You don't get those meetings to talk about like anything and everything relating to insurance. It would be more of a transactional on the other side if you went directly. And then, as I've just sort of touched on their goal is to develop a long-lasting relationship with you. They'll check in regularly. They'll make sure that you're properly covered. And if you do need to make any changes, then, they can do that for you. What's also important is that during claim time, which is obviously a bad situation for life insurance because it would be you who's no longer around, they'll work with the beneficiaries to make sure that the claim is processed and it's much friendlier than dealing with a life insurance company often in such a hard time. The cons, though, uh, it's not all plain sailing. So they work with many insurance companies, but they may not know sort of everything and all and everything about every insurance policy. So be aware of that. That you will need to understand the policy yourself. It's not that you put reliance 100% on the insurance broker. You do need to know what's going on, and that you might not need all the coverage that the broker suggests. So just do a sense check there and look at what you're being offered, and do some online quotes, do some comparison research, just to make sure that, okay, well, this is what you're being offered. And make sure it's simple. Make sure you understand the question. So make sure you understand what you're being sold or what's being proposed. Um, but just also compare, because it's not, their final answer isn't exactly what you need. It could be something else, or it could be something in the middle between what you see online and what they're offering. So it's also important that they need to be aware that they get paid through commissions, and this means that they can impact what they suggest. That is human nature. There's no laws around that, and that's why some insurers pay more than others. And of course, it's like any brokerage. They'll want to sort of give you the best thing, but if the best thing costs slightly more, and the second best thing is very similar, but it pays a lot less commission, then arguably there is a case where some people may be sold the best thing at the highest price, but not always appropriate for like the risks, i.e., like, what your needs are. So just be aware of that. And I think really it comes down to making comparisons and just going there with an open mind, and asking the questions, but making sure you do your own research as well. So, and there is a report from Consumer and Radio New Zealand, and it really just talks about how the fact is the insurance market is kind of fragmented, and they were, I mean, people liked insurance brokers, but at the same time, they liked the fact that buying directly did make them happier. So this is something worth listening to if you want to just. It's a couple of years old. I mean, it was published, sorry, in January 2020 before COVID, but it's something that we've linked to, and it's worth just keeping in mind. Now, moving on to purchasing directly from an insurance company. So the pros here is that you basically go direct to the source. It's simple, and you can do it online, and also the fact that you can avoid sort of going back and forth with a broker who's essentially a middleman. So if you have questions about the policy that you're looking at or anything like that, you just talk directly with the insurer. They'll answer it on the spot. You're not waiting for the broker to then schedule a time or talk to the insurance company, who will then come back to him, who will then come back to you. That can drag out. So premiums you pay if you buy directly versus using a broker will pretty much be the same. We've noticed that on some of our research, and it pays to obviously check that. But you may be able to also get a better deal if you go directly with the insurance company, and you control which insurers that you get quotes from. So if you do it all yourself and you buy directly, then you have the ability to go and get quotes from like the market effectively, and see who you want to work with based on that. So as you can see, there are plenty of insurers out there, and this is just one example of it. We do some quite comprehensive comparisons, and you can see there's about 10, and those are the ones giving online quotes. Sorry, 9. But there's more out there that won't give online quotes, but you can still get quotes from them should you ask. And then lastly, the cons here. So if you buy directly, you may not get the personalized experience that you would with an insurance broker. That's like a one-to-one meeting. That's long chats. And if you do need some assistance with underwriting and things like that, you may need to, call the call center, and most probably you will. And that may mean that, it's a different person who hears your case or your questions every time. And so there's not so much of a consistent experience, and you may be a little bit confused or a bit sort of anxious by that. Whereas dealing with a broker, you're going to ask the same person the questions, they're going to give you answers, and they're going to have your sort of case history or your situation all in one. Some life insurance companies only sell through brokers. So if they're not willing to sell to you directly, then you're going to miss out on any features that they offer. That's just the insurance prerogative. They don't have a sales team, but they want their insurance sold, obviously. So they just give it to brokers and factor in the cost of commission on, their policy costs. And if you buy directly from a life insurance company, they're only going to talk about the products that they sell. They may or may not meet your needs, which was sort of highlighted quite clearly here. If they need, so if they think, well, actually, you're not really suitable, they're not going to suggest another insurer in most cases, just because why would they? And so that's why dealing with an insurance broker has that more personalized feel. So something to be aware of there. And you won't necessarily know that the quote that you're getting is the best. You will need to do your own legwork and compare. And this can be time consuming, although it is great with online quotes. It's certainly with the likes of, for example, Life Direct giving you a whole bunch of different quotes from the same information. They have made that more transparent. But without that, it is more work and it is more comparing. So just be aware that this may take longer. But at the same time, if you were doing brokerage or getting quotes from a broker, you'd want to be doing your own comparisons as well, as I previously said. And because insurers only sell their policies, kind of touched on this before, you could end up with coverage that's not right or it could be insufficient. So just be aware of those risks as well. 5 facts about purchasing life insurance from a broker. Brokers are personal. You are going to have that experience there where you're feeling like you're sharing your information, they're helping you, and they're planning with you. It's definitely a one-to-one experience. Brokers may sell you other policies or may try to sell you other policies if they think there's a need. Insurers do this as well, like, directly, but it's just worth knowing that you may be cross-sold something else. It's like, oh, maybe you want life insurance, but what about mortgage protection insurance? What about trauma insurance? Because of that, something like that. So there's very often cross-selling. So that's up to you if you want to look at those, and we have lots of guides around those different insurance products that are out there. Brokers keep in regular contact, so that's previously what I touched on. Like they will make calls to you, they'll keep in touch, making sure your coverage is appropriate. If there's been a change in family circumstance, maybe more children, maybe something else, bigger house, a larger mortgage, things like that, then they're going to make sure that you've properly adjusted to make sure your coverage is what it should be. Brokers are regulated, so it's largely professional. Of course, there's always bad stories sometimes, but it's not the Wild West. They certainly operate within framework. And then brokers offer choice, and it's really important that if you were to see only one provider or one insurer quoted on, then that would be a bit of a red flag. It's like, why is that? Why is there only one? Why are there only two? You really want to be seeing a few things here and sort of asking, well, what about these other ones? And then making sure you understand the answer. So that's it for there. And then we've got some frequently asked questions. It really does depend on your situation as to who you buy it with. We've published this guide to make you aware of the pros and the cons, but we want you to just make your own determination. And the best thing we can suggest is really just talk to your family and be as transparent as possible about why you're looking for life insurance or what your aims are, just so you can have a more open conversation about it because they'll have ideas as well. And it'll be really helpful just to let all be on the same page. How do I choose a life insurance broker? Really, it's about one that you trust. Give a few a call, look at some online reviews, things like that. Ask for recommendations. Make sure that you click with them because they're going to be very important in your life and in your family's life. So just make sure that you're on the same page. And I think that this is a common question that we've heard before. If I call an insurance company directly to buy life insurance, will they tell me if they're not the right fit for me? Yes and no. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. They're probably not going to recommend anyone else if they're not. But they'll look at your situation, they'll look at your circumstances, sorry, and just make a sort of quote, and that could be good for you. That may not be good for you. it really is up to what comes back and what's driving the quote that you receive and the options. So thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions, as I say, please leave them in the description below, and we're very responsive to those. And we wish you the best of luck in your life insurance choice.